Fantastic. I can't follow a magic trick. No way. This is a rather, I suppose you might think it's a rather serious subject. Let me introduce myself. I am first, I suppose, a teacher. I teach A-level, ICT, and computing, both. And when I'm not teaching, I'm a doctoral student at Southampton University in this School of Education. So I've thought I'd just talk to you a minute. Apologies for the resolution. You can come by tomorrow into the foyer and see the real poster. But I wanted to talk to you a minute and just tell you about some of the things I'm interested in, some research about the work that hopefully you're going to help me with. Isn't that good? Because we all like somebody else to do our work. But my research has to do with the thinking part of computing. And one of the things that got me interested in this is the fact that while most of us have ICT or computing classes, and the kids do all right, most of the students are mixed ability. We have some very bright, some not so bright. Some of my students particularly, unfortunately, don't do maths. Do you have students who study computing and don't do maths? Yeah, they're a bit of a challenge, those, aren't they? Yeah? Yeah, a bit of a challenge. And I've had varied success with those students, some who do quite well, some who don't. The majority of them actually do learn to program in a fashion, and that got me to thinking. And when I saw John's mini C++, not yours, John, but your Singapore, the person from Singapore University, yeah? Sardinia. That made me think, because that's how my very weak students program. They are able to use languages, maybe Pascal, maybe Java, maybe PHP, ASP, VB.NET, whatever, and they use it as blocks, and they fill in the pieces. And that made me think about the way that I program. So I sat down and I thought, now, where do I start? And it hit me that I start with the thinking. I actually don't start with the programming. So I start with the thinking. And then, you know what the real revelation was that really narrowed this down for me is the fact that I realized I never taught them how to think. That's very sad for me as a teacher. So I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out if we as teachers actually teach the kids the thinking that goes behind the programming. Yeah? And that's hopefully, I want you to help me with this. I want you guys to be available to do little surveys for me or little questionnaires, or just come talk to me, because I don't bite. I'm quite friendly. I'm really interested in understanding how, or whether we do. Maybe some of you are like me, that you don't realize until it's like this, that what's missing is the connection with the thinking. It's not the doing. We can get the kids to do, but we'd like to get them to understand what they're doing at a much deeper level. So my research has only just started, okay, first year. So next year is going to be the tough year for me. I will need your help. And hopefully, some of you will volunteer to let me ask you some quite deep and interesting questions, okay? For myself, I'm going to change the way I teach next year. Paul Curzon has influenced me greatly in that area, whether he knows it or not. Yes, he does. I'm not going to teach the way Paul teaches, but he inspired me to try something different, to really go for it. So next year, when I have my year 12s, I've decided I'm not going to make programming the focus of my teaching. I'm going to make the thinking the focus of the teaching. And I'd like to see if anybody else is willing to have a go at that, or maybe for a lesson or two. So what I've done is next year in my classes, to help support my research, I've put together a sort of approach based on, inspired by Paul, but based on the mathematician's method, Polya's problem-solving method, yeah? So we're going to start teaching thinking in my school next year, and hopefully by the time the students go through Scratch, build your own blocks, Programmate, is that the way you say that? Programmate, yes. Move on to some old-fashioned pen and paper pseudocode, maybe onto Java. They'll actually understand how to tackle programming problems in the same way I do it when I start tackling an unknown problem. Instead of trying to jump in, make it work, just stop, think, and have a logical approach to it. Anyway, that's a bit of a serious thing after the magic tricks, but I'd really appreciate your help. Please come talk to me and tell me your trials, tribulations, and stories, would you please? Yes, I'm around all day tomorrow. All right, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Cynthia.